There's been no doubt that Star Trek Picard's second season has made a genuine effort to address some fan concerns from the first season and to try to be a bit more entertaining overall. The first episode was little more than bait and switch, however, presenting what outwardly appears to be a return to a more optimistic and Federation-based Star Trek, complete with Picard, Raffi and Rios back in uniform, and a large Federation fleet of recognizable starships. And then, quickly, that was all dispensed with, so that the show could once again devolve into the typical dark, edgy, bleak and dystopian storytelling that has characterized New Trek for years now. But I feel they're trying to justify that with a kind of mirror universe, alternate reality kind of story arc. Despite still being a very poor take on Star Trek overall, and providing nothing new or all that exciting, Picard's second season is at least a modest improvement over its first. After 5 episodes so far, John Delancey has been chewing the scenery as Q, despite playing a more sinister version of the character, rather than the more flamboyant and playful version we saw on TNG, Voyager and DS9. There's been a few nice continuity touches and deep lore references, some of them actually fairly clever, I would say. But it's just tiresome how almost every character has a painful, tortured backstory and past trauma. It's incredibly lazy writing. Also, the extremely unlikable primary characters all seem to know each other very well, like they're best friends all of a sudden, but we never actually got to see them grow and develop these friendships. It's like they all became close off-screen between seasons 1 and 2. The show still, in my opinion, defaces the family-friendly legacy of the franchise by throwing in totally unnecessary and jarring F-bombs. The new, younger Guinan seems to not only destroy the character, but violate pre-established canon from TNG's Time's Arrow, and the time travel paradox plot just seems like it's treading on very familiar ground. The reality is the damage was done in the show's first season. This series, like Discovery, is coasting on the legacy of past glories of this once great franchise. But the reason I'm bringing up the second season of Star Trek Picard is because its ever so slight improvement could be seen as a positive sign. Since 2009, the franchise has basically been in freefall, with no end to its creative and thematic decline in sight. Now, it appears that there's at least some signs that the showrunners are willing to listen to fan backlash and at least try a little bit harder. Nevertheless, I don't think Picard is ever going to completely turn the corner as a series. In 4 seasons of Discovery, the show has remained as unwatchable as ever, and I'm not convinced the people running the franchise now know how to make the kind of quality Trek that we got in the 90s. But they do have one more chance to prove me wrong. The upcoming Strange New Worlds TV series, starring Anson Mount as Christopher Pike, Ethan Peck as Spock, and Rebecca Romaine as Number 1, was created entirely because the best part of the second season of Discovery was Anson Mount's Pike and the appearance of the USS Enterprise. Mount delivered a strong performance, which, coupled with the fact that his character felt like he was being written for an actual Star Trek series, gave fans something to cheer about in an otherwise dour and pointless season. So there's something encouraging about the fact that the producers of Star Trek actually listened to the fans and heeded their calls for a spin-off series with Christopher Pike and co. aboard the Enterprise. So with this series starting from a blank slate and with lessons being learned from the past failures of Discovery and Picard, can New Trek finally produce one genuinely decent live-action Star Trek series and stop the rot? That's what we're going to talk about today, right after this. Before we go very much further, it's time now for a word from our partner for this video, Nord VPN, a virtual private network that will keep you secure and safe online. Your activity and personal information on the internet these days is becoming increasingly more visible to others, and for that reason, you need to take steps to protect your data and privacy. NordVPN provides you with next-generation security features that allows you to do just that. It provides advanced protection against cyber attacks, malware, and trackers, and lets you block intrusive ads so that you are in full control of your web browsing experience. In addition to that, you can protect all of your devices on a single subscription. Nord works on Mac, PC, Linux, iOS, Android, and even your Wi-Fi router. Some VPNs really slow down your connection, but not Nord. Whatever you're doing, whether it's watching videos, streaming music, doing video calls, or playing video games, games, Nord's 5,200 plus super-fast servers and groundbreaking Nord Links protocol mean that there's no bandwidth limits to worry about, just a robust, secure and really fast connection. And their no-logs policy means that there's no record of your web browsing history for third parties to see. You can hide your IP address with just a few clicks and have peace of mind while online, and in addition, Nord offers dedicated technical and customer support with a knowledgeable and friendly staff. Use my link in the description box and download Nord today, and if you make use of the promo code ComputingForever, you'll get 1 month for free when buying the 2-year plan. Okay, so welcome back. So the promos for Star Trek Strange New Worlds are hitting the web thick and fast recently, so what have we learned so far? Certainly the look and feel of the show appears to be a lot brighter and more optimistic in tone than Discovery, which wouldn't be difficult, of course. It's a good thing that there's been a recognition that the downbeat, dark, edgy, cutthroat vibe of Discovery and Picard Season 1 is to be jettisoned for Strange New Worlds. That decision alone at least presents the possibility that we can finally have something much more in keeping with Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future. On paper, Strange New Worlds has all the raw ingredients of a very promising series. It's going to be a primarily standalone episodic format as opposed to the drawn-out, season-long mystery box story arcs of Discovery and Picard. It's also a series about familiar characters, Pike, Spock, Number 1, and of course it takes place on the Enterprise, making it the 4th Trek series to be based around a ship with that name. The standalone nature of the series also means that the writers will have to step it up and produce self-contained stories that conclude within 1 hour. This also provides much more variety in the storytelling, meaning that each week can be a very different type of episode. Bottle-based, planet-based, horror, time travel, personal character story, light-hearted comedic episode, etc. Look to Star Trek Deep Space Nine as a show that got the balance right between long-running story arcs with the likes of the Maquis, Cardassian/Bajoran occupation, Dominion War, etc., but also they did some fine episodes of standalone sci-fi. But I suspect we're still going to have to put up with the annoyingly contemporary and often vacuous dialogue that we see on Discovery and Picard. Here's a couple of snippets from the promos.
Captain Pike, Lieutenant La'an Noonien Singh, Chief of Security.
Welcome back and welcome aboard, everyone.
When I was a kid, I was the only one to survive.
Yet another character with a traumatic past to overcome. It's such lazy writing because it's a cheap way of making it appear that the character has depth. Far too many shows these days give us characters who are damaged from their past so they can act intense and broody, and this is designed to make them appear well developed and complicated, when in fact they're pretty shallow and there's nothing going on there. In truth, no one likes perpetual victims. The classic Trek shows never had to do this because the writing was actually good and wasn't trying to appear like it was good, it was just good. The characters on the old shows put on their Starfleet uniforms and they left their baggage at the airlock and they got on with their jobs. That's the other thing I can't stand in New Trek, how utterly unprofessional people are.
Hurry!
I'm going, get off my ass! Sir, get off my ass, sir!
You know how you used to brag you're going to be the best pilot ever to graduate the academy?
What's your point, sir?
Time to prove it, Lieutenant.
Can you imagine Harry Kim or B'Elanna Torres addressing Janeway in this manner, or Geordi or Riker speaking like this to Picard, or Miles O'Brien or Dax speaking this way to Sisko, or any character from any of the classic shows speaking this way to their superior officers? Not a chance. This kind of casual, snarky, disrespectful, passive-aggressive, borderline insubordinate attitude just makes a mockery of the fact that these are supposed to be professional explorers with a chain of command. Right, military personnel. Starfleet is supposed to be basically the Navy in space. How could anyone address their superior officer in this manner? Anyway, weak, shallow characters and juvenile dialogue aside, the show has got to be at least a little bit better than Picard because it's an actual Starfleet-based series and not a ragtag ensemble. Therefore, it's much more in keeping with the Star Trek format. That being said, if the same team of writers and producers are at the helm, I can't see how the show is going to be anything above mediocre. and it'll probably be filled with overly emotional, hot-headed and thin-skinned characters, as we've seen with the rest of New Trek. But even if the show only produces average quality Trek episodes, it could be enough to at least be a modest improvement over Discovery and Picard. But I'm still of the belief that the glory days of Star Trek are long behind it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If the franchise is to ever recover, it'll have to one day officially redefine what qualifies as canon and non-canon. The original series, the animated series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager and Enterprise and the first 10 films can be considered canon, and everything produced from 2009 till now can be consigned to an alternate non-canon status. That's the only way I see Trek moving forward in any meaningful way. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please share this video if you can, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.